Thanks, Joe, and thank you, Matua. Your words are always welcome. If you don't know, Santana Minerals is advancing New Zealand's next biggest gold project in the Central Otago region of the South Island of New Zealand. This photo here, proud to say, is our very first digger we've bought. It's a very modest, I think it's a 21 tonner. Of course, last month we announced a commitment to acquire our main mining fleet from Komatsu and to the tune of $115 million New Zealand. So a very big step forward, and we expect, as it says on the bottom there, once our consents via fast track are granted on the 29th of October, that machinery will mobilise and start operating. Important disclaimer and various forward-looking statements. First time I've been to a conference that it's been called out at least twice, so I'll do the same. And what Santana is about is we are funded in terms of our equity portion with a very strong team behind us in the board and the team on the ground. Briefly going through the list of names up there. Peter Cook, if you don't know who Peter Cook is and you are in the Australian mining industry, you've been down a Central Otago rabbit hole. Peter Cook is the founder of various companies, particularly Metals X and Westgold, and certainly is very excited about what the Bendigo Ophir project is. It's one of the best gold discoveries he's ever seen, and of course joined us in late 23. On the board at that time was Kim Bunting. He is the New Zealand-based geologist. He is actually an Aucklander, but has spent pretty much the last 10 years based down in Central Otago, really putting the boots on the ground, doing the hard work to make this ultimate discovery. Emma Scottney is our latest addition to the board. She comes from a legal background, very experienced in governance and directorships, and was on the board of De Grey that was eventually acquired, and also currently a director on Minerals 260, one of our peers in the Australian gold sector, and certainly doing great things there. Craig's our longest employee, been part of Santana since it was spun out of a transaction in Mexico in 2013-14. And of course, Sam Smith, who's here with me today, he's our corporate development officer and in charge of doing everything that I don't get time to do. So he does a lot of work, and be sure to catch up with him when we stop for a beer later on. One of the key milestones was our admission to the ASX 300 index last, I think in March, and so it's a very proud moment for all of us here with that current market cap there, and of course liquidity's drastically increased to that just under 3 million shares a day. But one of the key things that we've often talked about right from the start when Santana acquired Matakanui Gold in 2020 is the 40% thereabouts New Zealanders who have taken part as a shareholder in Santana. And that's despite the various private placements to institutions over the years, that Kiwi participation on market always seems to claw us back up to around that 40%. So last year, New Zealand Petroleum Minerals granted us a 30-year mining permit for the, I think we called it the Rise and Shine permit. That's to enable us to extract the Crown mineral gold and by doing so pay the Crown a royalty, in our case 10% counting profits, effectively another 10% corporate tax. We are in the lowest quartile in Australia in terms of all-in sustaining costs, and they're just above 2,100 Kiwi per ounce. Fantastic reserve, 1.2 million ounces across 4 deposits, both open pit and underground. And as I said, the biggest question there for us, or date in the calendar, is the 29th of October. Got good coverage across a number of brokers and to my friends at Canaccord Genuity. Been there almost from the start. Bell Potter, of course, that brokered the deal between Santana and Matakanui Gold, and the local firm Forsyth Bar, which released their coverage last month. So Central Otago, that's the shape of our permit, if you can discern that on the map. It's about, I think the next slide probably says it. We're about an hour's drive from Queenstown, 40 minutes from Wanaka, an hour from Alex, so really well located in terms of the surrounding infrastructure and towns. Local workforce, we did announce a survey from January in which we had over 670 respondents, 2/3 of which live within or have access to housing, an hour's drive from the project. And of course, it is only a survey, and the rubber will hit the ground when we activate our recruitment process closer to the time of the decision. But across that survey, we did get a good mixture of skills, both in mining, processing, technical, and of course, green hats, or people who've got no experience, which are a key part of our industry as well. So the project, 2.3 million ounces of gold in resources, covering those 4 pits there, Come and Time from the northwest, Rise and Shine, Shreks, and Shreks East. And why we call it Shreks? Well, it's Southern Regional Exploration, and there might have been a sheep caught up in the hills about 20 odd years ago. If we take a long section through the Rise and Shine ore body looking, I better get this right, west, we have Raz Ridge, which I've often taken any visitors to site, and that sits above about 140 metres above the main core, the thick high-grade zone that's about 40 metres thick, up to 150 metres wide, and currently very much open as we continue to step out to the north, to the right on the screen, and getting some fantastic hits there. 38.6 metres at 1.7 grams down a hole that's 800 metres deep is a fantastic results, and we've continued to drill, and those results are we announce regularly. Can't quite compete with some of the intercepts offered today, but it's a bit combination of thickness of interval and grade, and you can see there 42 metres at 8.8 grams per tonne is an incredible result. One of those holes in there does have our highest assay of 1 metre at 1400 grams. Similar orientation, just to give you a sense of what the mining will be about, as it's near surface, open pit mining is the preferred, and in some cases, particularly with our satellite deposits, it is the only method. So we're starting from the south, we're at outcrops in the Rise and Shine Valley. We'll lift the lid on that ridge, progressing to the north and stopping short of the ultimate area, the Shepherd's Creek. By that stage, we would have established the underground decline, which is that zigzag you can see there, and started producing from underground as the open pit winds down. And of course, with our ongoing extensional drilling, upside for the underground resource is definitely ongoing. Very simple metallurgy. Anybody knows anything about Otago orogenic gold, and the one example of our mates down the road, that deposit is what we call refractory. Ours is not refractory, it's free milling. It still needs a conventional plant in the form of gravity, a crush and grind, followed by gravity, like you might see on some of those Discovery Channel shows. And then those blue tanks you can see in the centre of the picture there as a carbon and leach circuit to recover the balance of the gold. Modern plant being designed by our brothers in Perth, Interquip, and we expect to be, as I said, commencing on the ground with those foundations before the end of the year. In terms of production profile, we'll ramp up to 120,000 ounces per year at 1.2 million tonnes per annum throughput. I can certainly say in those years 3 to 5, the open pit will produce some of the best grades you'll see from an open pit in New Zealand at well over 4 grams. Capital build is modest at just over 300 Kiwi, and that's for not only the plant and infrastructure, but if you know a bit about mining, there is a this particular RAS deposit involves a little bit of a pre-strip, so we've got about $70 odd million there to, as I say, lift the lid and expose the ore body. 16 months payback, and again, one of the lowest all-in sustaining costs you'll see in the Australian gold market. Can I go back? Just go back. Those gold bars represent the production from the underground. We have certainly talked about it for a long time, about potential for upgrading the mill to increase throughput, and if we were to put that proposition forward, you'll see those bars stack up more along on top of that underground. So certainly looking at a profile in excess of 120,000 ounces per annum. Now, we've all seen the appreciation of gold price, certainly since I started in early 23, and I think it was, I don't know, $2,000. It was something that seemed pretty high at the moment, at that time, but this graph gives you a sense of what the after-tax NPV would be at the various gold prices there. So I've got a little dashed line there that was the spot price at the end of the day on the 20th of April, and you can see we have a significant wealth builder in this gold mine. And of course, thanks to some, this bit of AI starting to creep into this presentation, but this is a graph taken from various sources in order to really put on the map just how low cost this gold mine will be. So in terms of Aussie dollars, most of our peers are Australian based, just under 2,000 Aussie. So what's the Australian gold price today? Somewhere north of 7, or just hovering on 7, so that's a good $5,000 an ounce clear margin. But it is about this at the moment. Fast track, fantastic piece of legislation, unexpected at the last election, certainly welcomed when it was first announced just before Christmas of 23, and certainly it's a pile of work. I can say that quite honestly. The team and I have worked very hard to get our application in. Ultimately, November last year, much later than we expected, 9,453 pages, of which I've read every single page. Can't quote every single page, but really to demonstrate that we have not left one stone unturned or lizard discovered in order to make sure we've got our I's dotted and our T's crossed. We have just completed our response week, so we had 5 working days, 7 calendar days, in order to respond to the 55 submissions, of which we distilled, what does it say there? Number kept changing, 1,119 written comments that we felt that were of substance that we've had to respond to. We put that response in at 20 to 12 Friday night, a week ago, and we're feeling very confident about our position. We are now heading to Otapoti Dunedin, out to the Marae Otako, for a hearing on Tuesday afternoon with Karunaka and the panel, in which we'll obviously exchange views, and then 2 days of panel hearing in Cromwell for other submitters to give oral submissions. But really the crux of it will be the following month, when we're entering into expert conferencing, where lizard experts talk to lizard experts, water experts talk to water experts with our planner, and try and get some consensus of what remains on the table. And then, as it says in the graphic there, August, September, we expect a draft decision. Now, this draft decision will be obviously very market sensitive, and it's really leading towards a final decision on that date, 29th of October. That process under the fast track allows any conditions to be tightened. We may not like a condition that the panel's proposed, and we've got a few weeks there to tweak things up and make sure they get it right. And then we're off to the races. Early works are well underway, water supply, road access, electricity infrastructure, getting ready for a 29th of October decision date, and then we're straight in about a 12-month actual build for the plants, about that 15-month for the pre-strip and first ore. So looking at late 27, early 28 for commissioning. So in short, it's a major New Zealand discovery. When I was working for my previous employer, our mates at Bathurst Coal, I'm only an hour from the project, and I started seeing these results, and I thought, wow, this is going to be a mine. And it certainly has turned out to be. We've got our decision in August, but don't forget there will be a draft decision prior to that. 120,000 ounces per annum. That's on our PFS update from last year. First gold in 28. And certainly a fantastic return to the government in terms of taxes and royalties at the conservative PFS gold price, which was 5,400 Kiwi, 1.8 billion. At sort of up to, I think the last time we did cut the numbers, 7,100, that grows to $2.5 billion. And not to mention 351 jobs on average throughout the mine life. Thank you very much.